There are mornings when you wake up and everything seems normal. Work, family, friends. Yet deep inside, there's still a heaviness, as if something is missing. We often believe that peace will come once we achieve more, a bigger house, a stable job, or perfect relationships. But even when those things are within our grasp, that emptiness still lingers. The truth is, peace isn't a prize waiting at the end of the road. It's a state of being that can bloom in this very moment, the moment you pause and turn inward. The journey back to stillness doesn't require anything grand or far away. It begins with simple, everyday practices. And in today's video, we'll walk through 9 steps together to realize that peace has never left you. It's always been right here, within your reach. 1. Creating a peaceful environment, a sanctuary in daily life. We often search for peace within, yet forget how much our outer environment shapes our inner state. A tidy, bright room can bring an instant sense of ease, but a cluttered desk, harsh lighting, or constant noise can make the mind restless, even when we try to sit quietly. In Buddhist teaching, there's an important principle. The outer world and the inner world reflect one another. When our surroundings are chaotic, it's hard for the mind to settle. But when we take a little time to clean, organize, and clear the space, our heart naturally feels lighter. You can start with the smallest habits. Spend 10 minutes each morning folding your blanket, wiping your desk, or opening a window to let in fresh air and sunlight. Just one small change can create a fresh beginning for the entire day. Beyond tidiness, pay attention to what nourishes your senses. Gentle colors like green, earth tones, or soft blues help calm the mind. A small plant, a vase of flowers, or a drop of natural essential oil, cedarwood, orange, lavender, can make a room feel soothing and welcoming. Sound matters too. Instead of loud TV noise, try soft meditation music, the sound of rain, or simply allow silence, giving your mind permission to rest. Here's a simple practice you can try today. Choose a small corner in your home. A tea table, a chair by the window, or even just a cushion on the floor. Dedicate that space to stillness. Whenever you feel stressed, sit there, breathe slowly for a few minutes, and do nothing else. Over time, your mind will remember that this is a place of peace, and just stepping into it will help you return to calm more easily. Peace doesn't only come from meditation or lofty philosophies. It begins with the details of everyday life. By shaping your environment into a personal sanctuary, you're planting seeds of tranquility in your heart, and that outer preparation will gently support you when you step into deeper practices of the inner path. 2. Gratitude, the doorway to peace. There's a simple secret that many overlook. Gratitude is the key that unlocks inner peace. When the mind is busy chasing what it doesn't have, we're always left feeling restless and incomplete. But the moment we pause and notice what's already here, a sense of ease and fullness begins to arise. In Buddhist teaching, there's the principle of knowing enough. It doesn't mean giving up on dreams or stopping our efforts. It means learning to appreciate what is already present in our lives. A humble meal, a genuine friend, even the simple gift of breath moving in and out. Each one is priceless. You can start with a very small practice. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for that day. They don't have to be big. It could be finishing a task, a kind message from someone, or simply a cool breeze passing through your window. As you write them down, your mind slowly shifts away from worry, returning to the sense of enough in the present moment. Modern science also confirms this. The habit of practicing gratitude reduces anxiety, improves sleep, and increases overall happiness. More importantly, it changes the way we look at life. shifting our focus from what's missing to what's already here. Just imagine, if every day began with a quiet moment of thanks, how would it change the way you step outside, speak to your loved ones, or face challenges? Instead of tension and craving, your mind would soften, your heart would open, and peace would begin to flow through even the smallest actions. A grateful heart is a peaceful heart, and every time we nurture gratitude, we open a doorway, the doorway to serenity, right here and now. 3. Stillness in the storm. Finding calm amid chaos. Life never runs out of storms. Sometimes it's the pressure of work, conflicts at home, or a flood of troubling news. Other times it's the unexpected, illness, loss, or setbacks we never saw coming. In those moments, peace can feel like something far away. But as the Buddha taught, peace doesn't come from escaping the storm. True peace is found right in the middle of it. Think of a lake. The surface may ripple with wind, but deep below, the water remains still and calm. Our minds are the same. When we learn to turn inward, we discover a quiet space untouched by the outside world. Here's a practice you can try. In the midst of noise, pause for a few minutes. Close your eyes, place a hand on your belly, and take a deep breath. Count slowly to 4 as you inhale. Hold for a moment, then exhale gently to the count of 6. Just 3 rounds of this can calm the body and ease the mind. Many people believe peace requires a perfectly quiet setting, a closed room, birds singing, a gentle breeze. But real peace doesn't depend on the environment. You can sit in a noisy cafe or in an office full of keyboards clicking and still touch that inner stillness if you know how to return to your breath. A beautiful image in Buddhist practice is the candle in the wind. When stressed, the mind is like a candle flickering wildly in the breeze, ready to go out. But with steady breathing and awareness, that flame grows stable and shines through the darkness. Stillness doesn't mean there's no wind. It means learning to keep the flame alive no matter how the wind blows. You can also practice this while walking. Instead of rushing ahead, notice the feeling of your feet touching the ground. Step, inhale. Step, exhale. With each step, peace rises from the simple act of being fully present. And here's the most important reminder. We can't control every storm, but we can choose how we respond. When we anchor ourselves in breath and mindful steps, we tap into a strength that carries us through without being swept away. Peace is not a final destination. It's a way of living, a skill we can cultivate even in uncertain times. And once you've touched that stillness, you'll know. No matter how fierce the storm outside, there's always a peaceful home waiting within your heart. 4. Rewiring the mind. Breaking free from loops of worry. Our minds love to repeat the same old patterns. When challenges appear, many of us instantly imagine the worst. What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if this illness never heals? Over time, the brain carves a familiar track that runs straight toward fear and anxiety. In Buddhism, this is called attachment to delusion, mistaking our thoughts for truth. When we believe every thought, we let it lead us blindly. But here's the good news. The brain can be rewired. Just like a worn footpath that grows over with grass when no one walks it, negative thought patterns can fade if we stop feeding them. One simple method is called noting, labeling your thoughts. When the mind shouts criticism or imagines disaster, quietly recognize it. This is worry. Or this is comparison. By naming the thought, you create distance from it, instead of being swallowed whole. For example, when a thought appears, I'm not good enough. Instead of spiraling into self-blame, pause and say, This is just a thought. Thoughts are not facts. They're like passing clouds, here for a moment, then gone, while the vast sky of awareness remains unchanged. Beyond noting, you can replace negative loops with positive ones. Each time you catch yourself trapped in fear, gently return to a new reminder such as, I am doing my best, and that is enough. Repetition builds new pathways in the brain, where peace begins to replace worry. Modern neuroscience supports this. Studies show that mindfulness meditation helps the brain form fresh neural connections, quiets the amygdala, the fear center, and strengthens our ability to remain calm under stress. In other words, we can literally reprogram the brain to live with more peace. Remember, the goal isn't to erase every negative thought. That's impossible. The real practice is learning to observe, to name, and to choose not to follow. With steady practice, the loop of worry weakens, making space for new patterns. The pathways of clarity, calm, and freedom. 5. Healing the past, forgiving others and yourself. Each of us carries unfinished memories, a hurtful word, a broken relationship, or a decision we regret. When left unhealed, the past becomes a heavy stone we keep in our backpack, slowing us down, even though no one asked us to carry it. The Buddha taught, all things are impermanent. This applies to memories and emotions too. They are not fixed. They can fade when we allow them to pass. Yet, so often, instead of letting go, we cling tightly to anger or guilt, as if they define who we are. True healing comes in 2 steps: forgiving others and forgiving yourself. 1. Forgiving others. Forgiveness doesn't mean approving of what they did. It means freeing yourself from the chains of resentment. Holding onto hatred is like drinking poison and hoping the other person suffers. In truth, we are the ones who suffer most. When we release, we don't excuse their actions. We simply free our own hearts. Here's a practice you can try. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and picture the person who hurt you standing before you. Imagine placing a heavy stone on the ground between you, symbolizing the burden of resentment. Whisper silently, I no longer carry this weight. Even if it's just a little, you'll feel your heart grow lighter. 2. Forgiving yourself. This is often the hardest part. Many of us can forgive others more easily than we can forgive ourselves. Thoughts like, why was I so foolish? Or, if only I had chosen differently, echo endlessly, keeping us trapped in regret. But remember, you are human, still learning, still growing. Every mistake is a lesson, not a life sentence. If you can forgive a dear friend, why not offer that same kindness to yourself? Try this practice. Write a letter to yourself. In it, apologize, forgive, and release the weight of your past choices. You don't need to send it anywhere. Just writing and reading it back can feel like giving yourself a gentle embrace. Reconnecting with the present forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it changes how the past shapes your present. Instead of a chain that pulls you backward, it becomes a teacher, offering wisdom for the path ahead. And most importantly, forgiveness creates space for peace to enter. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about refusing to let the past define who you are today. When you forgive, both others and yourself, you finally step out of the old shadows, free to live with lightness in every moment. 6. Protecting your energy. Boundaries for inner peace. Have you ever noticed that some days you don't do anything physically exhausting, yet by evening you feel completely drained? It's not always the workload. It's often because your mental energy has been quietly siphoned away without you realizing it. Think of your mind's energy like a cup of water. If everyone is free to dip into it whenever they like, it won't be long before the cup runs dry. The leaks often come from endless complaining conversations, toxic work environments, or hours of mindless scrolling on social media. These little drains quietly pull at your energy until you're left tired and unsettled. In Buddhism, this act of protecting your inner vitality is called ho-tree, guarding. Guarding isn't just about protecting your body, it's about protecting the mind. By setting boundaries, we preserve inner peace instead of being swept into the storm of negativity around us. You can start simply by observing which activities or relationships leave you feeling light and which leave you feeling heavy. Once you see clearly, the next step is to courageously set limits. This could mean turning off notifications in the evening, declining gatherings that revolve around venting and gossip, or limiting your social media use. Here's a practice you can try. Give yourself 1 hour of digital detox each day. During that hour, put your phone aside, turn off the TV, stay away from email and social media. Instead, read a book, take a walk, or simply sit quietly with a cup of tea. Just 1 hour can feel surprisingly restorative. But protecting your energy isn't only about avoiding drains. It's also about replenishing it. Spend time with people who lift you up, not wear you down. Nourish your body with wholesome meals and your mind with meditation, yoga, or even just a few minutes of slow breathing. Protecting your energy doesn't mean being selfish or shutting yourself away. On the contrary, it's the foundation that allows you to give love more sustainably. You're no longer pouring from emptiness, but sharing from a place of fullness. When you safeguard your energy, you safeguard your peace. And you realize, the moment you stop letting yourself be pulled away, the mind naturally opens into a spacious calm where peace can live. 7. Watching the mind. Not identifying with thoughts. One of the biggest reasons we feel exhausted inside is because we keep believing, I am my thoughts. If the mind says, I am a failure, we instantly believe we are worthless. If a sad memory rises up, we feel as if our whole life is covered in darkness. But here's the truth. Thoughts are just like clouds. They come and go. Who you really are is the vast sky that holds them. In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a river. The water never stops flowing, moment by moment. Thoughts are the same, appearing and disappearing, one after another. The problem is that we mistake ourselves for the rushing stream, instead of realizing we are simply the observer standing on the bank. Here's a simple practice you can try. Sit quietly for 1 minute, close your eyes, and just watch your thoughts. When a thought arises, don't react. Simply note, here's a thought. Then let it pass. Just as you would watch a cloud drift across the sky. After a while, you'll notice thoughts come and go, but you, the one who is watching, remain still and untouched. Think about it in daily life. Imagine you're driving and someone suddenly cuts you off. Instantly, the mind flares up. How careless. If you're caught in it, you might explode with anger, only adding more stress. But if you can pause and notice, here is anger rising, you create a gap. In that gap, you have a choice. Let it go, take a slow breath, and move on. The anger softens, and you continue your journey in peace. When we train ourselves to observe, something powerful happens. We separate ourselves from our thoughts. The mind may still chatter, but we're no longer dragged around by it. It's like sitting safely on the riverbank, watching the water flow without being swept away. Peace is not about stopping all thoughts. It's about knowing deeply. A thought is just a thought. And once you see that, you realize how much freedom has always been waiting for you. 8. The power of acceptance. let it be. One of the main sources of our suffering doesn't actually come from life itself, but from our resistance to it. When loss arrives, the mind cries out, "Why me?" When illness strikes, we tighten up inside. This can't be happening. And that resistance, it doubles the pain. The Buddha taught, only when we let go of resistance do we find true freedom. Acceptance does not mean giving up or being passive. It simply means facing reality as it is and saying, yes, this is happening. In that moment, all the energy we waste fighting against what already is gets released. And within that release, the doorway to peace opens. Picture this. You're caught in a strong current. The more you struggle, the faster you sink into exhaustion. But if you soften, if you let your body float with the stream, you realize you don't drown. You can still breathe, and you can still steer when the time is right. That's the quiet strength of let it be. In daily life, acceptance often begins with small things. Imagine being stuck in traffic for hours. You can rage, complain, and let the mind spiral into stress. Or you can slow your breathing, play some calming music, and remind yourself, I can't control this situation, but I can choose how I respond. Suddenly, the mind is no longer tortured by what lies beyond your reach. More importantly, acceptance also applies to emotions. Instead of suppressing sadness, allow it to be here. You might sit quietly, place a hand over your heart, and whisper, I see you. I know I'm sad. And strangely enough, the moment sadness is acknowledged, it begins to soften. Like a child who stops crying once it feels heard. Here's a practice you can try today. Whenever you feel discomfort, pause and ask yourself, which part of this is out of my control? For that part, loosen your grip and accept it. For the rest, act with calmness. This way, you conserve energy while keeping your heart steady. Acceptance doesn't make life perfect, but it does make your heart a safe place to live. And once you stop resisting, you'll see clearly. Peace doesn't depend on what happens outside. It blooms from how openly you embrace the present moment. 9. Understanding the nature of the mind. The monkey mind. If you've ever tried sitting quietly for just a few minutes and suddenly found your head flooded with thoughts, yesterday's arguments, tomorrow's tasks, congratulations. At Tate, you've just met your own monkey mind. In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a monkey swinging from branch to branch. Restless, jumpy, never still, always grabbing for something new. Here's the key. This restlessness is not your fault. It's simply the natural nature of the mind. The real trouble begins only when we completely identify with it. When we believe we are every thought, every jump, every swing. Without understanding this nature, we easily fall into self-blame. Why can't I focus? Why is my mind such a mess? But the truth is, everyone has a monkey mind. Once you realize this, the self-criticism starts to fade, and space for gentle observation opens up. Think of the sky. Clouds may gather, scatter, turn dark, or shine clear blue. But the sky itself never disappears. Your mind is the same. Thoughts may rush and swirl, but your awareness, the inner sky, remains vast, still, and unbroken. Here's a simple practice. Sit quietly and breathe steadily. Each time the mind jumps to another thought, just whisper inwardly, thinking. Then, gently bring your attention back to the breath. No need to push thoughts away. Just let them drift, like clouds across the sky. At first it feels hard, but over time, the mind learns how to settle. When you understand that the mind is naturally noisy, you stop demanding perfect silence from it. Instead, you learn to live with it. Through acceptance and gentle observation. Like a monkey trainer, you don't try to kill the monkey. You patiently guide it, teaching it how to rest. And slowly, you'll discover this truth. Beneath all the chatter and noise of the monkey mind, there's always a still space waiting, a quiet home where peace is already here. The journey back to inner peace together. We've walked through 9 different doors, each one opening a unique path back to stillness within. We began with our living space, because the outer world always mirrors the inner one. A tidy corner, a touch of natural light, some greenery or gentle music can become a refuge where the mind naturally softens. From that foundation, we moved into gratitude, the seed that nourishes a sense of enoughness. By cherishing the small blessings of each day, we stop chasing what's missing and start resting in the joy of the present moment. Then came the storms of life. Instead of waiting for the world to quiet down, we learned to find calm within the chaos, anchoring ourselves in a single breath or a mindful step. Next, we explored how to rewire the brain and step out of negative loops. Simply by noticing and naming thoughts, we created distance from them, opening space to choose a gentler response. On this journey, healing the past was essential, forgiving others to free ourselves and forgiving ourselves to walk lighter. The past no longer as chains, but as a teacher guiding us forward. To stay steady, we learned to protect our energy, setting healthy boundaries, stepping away from negativity, and feeding both body and mind with what is wholesome. Only when the cup is full can it overflow. Alongside that, we practiced observing the mind. Seeing thoughts as passing clouds, we stopped confusing ourselves with them. Instead of being swept away by the current, we sat on the riverbank, simply watching. Then came acceptance. By letting go of resistance, we stopped doubling our suffering. Saying this is happening saved our energy and opened the doorway to peace. And finally, we faced the nature of the mind itself, the monkey mind. By understanding that restlessness is simply natural, we stopped blaming ourselves. With patience and mindfulness, we gently trained the mind like a monkey guided into calmness. In the end, these 9 doors point to one truth. Peace is not found out there. It lives in every moment we return to ourselves. When we learn to appreciate the present, observe the mind, guard our energy, accept and forgive, we realize peace was never gone. It was always here, quietly waiting for us to notice and embrace it. Peace is not when life is free of storms, but when you can find stillness right in the middle of them. Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, remember, peace is never far away. It already lives within you, waiting to be awakened through a single breath, through gratitude, and through acceptance. If this journey has brought you value, share this video with someone you care about, so together we can plant seeds of peace. And don't forget to leave a comment. Out of these 9 steps, which one will you begin with today?